Steve Gamache here for CII Bladeworks, and this company is started by Carter Hopkins II. He's widely known for his exquisitely crafted custom handles that he's been doing for quite some time now, and so he's expanding his offerings into knives. So he's in-house heat treating and grinding and finishing these beautiful blades to go along with these excellent handles that he produces. So this particular one is a 230 millimeter Gyuto. The core steel, or the steel that he uses, is 52100 high carbon steel stock. The heat treats that he does in-house with his own formula he's worked out is 62 Rockwell. And the construction is mono steel, so it's just one piece of steel. There's no cladding or layers, and it's a stock removal method. So we got the piece of stock, and then he'll shape and grind that down to his specifications. So totally done in-house, total control. The 52100 steel that he uses is an excellent knife steel. It responds extremely well to heat treat, like especially in-house heat treats, and it's got 1% chromium, so that makes it just a little bit less reactive than some of the more pure reactive carbon steels, like from Shitogami, for example, from Hitachi. So it also takes a really nice edge. It'll take a lot of refinement if you want to do that, or you can make it toothy if you want to do that. It also responds well. It's pretty easy to sharpen, and it takes a very, very nice edge. So this particular one has been polished a bit, but 52100 is kind of great for the patina end of things because it will have some reactivity, but it's not crazy like iron cladding on some knives and such. So it's a very manageable reactivity, and you'll get a nice patina over time with it. This one we cleaned up just to kind of show you a more pristine knife. This knife has been sent out to numerous professionals and used in professional kitchens, so it's had a bit of wear and tear on it. It's not as pristine as you would see on a brand new out-of-the-box knife from CII Bladeworks, so bear that in mind. Also, the polish on it, we'll show you a close-up of that, but it's been tweaked a couple of times based on some feedback, so this probably doesn't have the standard finish that he's going to put on these knives. I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. So weights are going to vary a little bit on these depending on the particular handle materials that Carter will use, but this particular one is 198 grams or 7.0 ounces, right about 230 millimeter on the money on the edge length, about 9 inches, and then overall length about 15 inches with the handle. I measured the spine in 4 places on the knife, and the spine actually is a certain thickness, and then the knife gains a little bit of thickness to the middle, if you kind of look at the way the light's hitting here, and then it comes back on his convexing down towards the edge, so it kind of comes, you know, to a certain thickness, up a little bit, and then back down as we go towards the edge. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. So the actual spine thickness on this I measured in 4 places, 2.1 millimeters right at the back. About halfway down I measured it. It was about 2.2, and then I measured it 2 inches from the tip. It was about 1.6 millimeters, and then about 1 inch from the tip it was about 1.2 millimeters, and then it thins out actually even beyond that as you get towards the very tip. So it's got a nice taper to it as you go. Blade height on this one's about 46 millimeters. And of course the star of the show is the handle. So Carter makes some fabulous handles. This particular one is absolutely no exception. It's beautifully done, great craftsmanship, meticulous work. It's got a ding or two from being in some pro environments, but it's still surprisingly pristine. So it shows you his handles are pretty tough as well. The materials on this, the main part of the handle is it's octagonal, by the way, is a redwood burl, beautiful figuring on it, really nice color. As I'm moving this around, actually just looking at it in the light, it's actually kind of, I don't know if you can catch that. Can you catch that right there? Is that moving around? Hopefully that's moving around. I'll have to look at it on the computer. I've got a small confidence monitor here, but it doesn't really show me everything. But I'm actually seeing stuff move around in that finish as I move it around. That's pretty wicked. So Carter picks fine materials, the best of what he wants to get, and he picks the best of the best and uses these for his handle. So he has complete control over all the materials. So he uses some great figured wood. The ferrule and the end cap are black buffalo horn, and then the spacers are nickel silver. Beautiful finish work on this thing. It's just great all the way around. Puts a nice tough finish on them. He always does super tight installs at the tang going into the handle. So these are just awesome handles. The Knife itself is very well crafted. It's got nice fit and finish. The polish on here is probably a little more mirror-like than you're going to find on most of his knives because of the rework that's been done on this and, you know, some tweaking of the grind and so on. The normal finish you would expect based on the two other knives I've seen, I'm going to guess is going to come out more like this, which is a brushed finish, which is very elegant looking. And when you clean the knife, you're always wiping it down this way with the blade, so that'll help hide any scratches as they'll go kind of in line with the finish. But I would expect this to be the type of finish that you would see on this, straight out of the box. Carter rounds and polishes the spine really nicely. He rounds and polishes the choil into the neck very, very nicely. Super comfortable. Out of the box edge is really not applicable here because it's been used so much, but he's a competent sharpener, so you should get a decent to good to probably very good out of the box edge on these. And of course, at this level of purchase, you'll probably be putting your own edge on it as well. 52100, as I said, will take a lot of refinement if you want to put it on there. So you can kind of see the contour of the blade. He does get these pretty thin at the edge. I would say performance-wise, this it's a solid performer that feels like a good workhorse knife. Easy for me to say on the cutting board. It's got some stiffness to the blade. So it's got a lot of confident feel on the cutting board. It's not a laser, but it goes through product quite well. And as I said, it's got a good solid feel to it. It does not feel delicate by any means at all. So let's see here. Let's look at it on the cutting board. So this is the particular profile of this blade. Kind of a gentle curve throughout, not a particular flat spot anywhere on it. The tip on this particular one, this has been ground or, you know, tweaked a couple of times, but I'm getting right in there. This tip on this particular one's digging in a little bit. I would suspect on future ones he'll have that swept up just a touch, but this, as I said, this one's been tweaked quite a bit. So this one's not going to rock real high. I would expect other ones to rock higher than this. So, but just a gentle curve throughout. So there's your profile on that particular blade. Again, these will probably be slightly different on some of the other ones that haven't been sent around and sent back again numerous times. The value proposition on these is actually quite high. They're not necessarily inexpensive, but a good chunk of the price on these knives, whatever he's going to be setting these to, will vary depending on the handle materials, but a good chunk of that is going to be woodwork. So it'll be the handle, the saya if one's included, or you decide to get a saya. That'll be a big chunk. The actual price of the blade, if you take away the woodwork, is very, very reasonable. So Carter is doing a lot of work to these blades, and they're done very, very well, and he's really providing a great value proposition on that. What you're really buying is the beautiful, beautiful handle work he does along with a high quality blade. And so again, they're really actually very good values considering the work that goes into these. So this one is a very good performing knife, a solid feeling knife on the board. It's just a nice all around package. 230 millimeter is a cool size because it can be used for some bigger prep if you want, or it's good in a home environment where your space is a little more constrained, but it gives you length over a 210. So it's a nice intermediate size to kind of split that difference. So another awesome knife, beautiful, beautiful handle. So this is the 230 millimeter Gyuto in 52100 steel by CII Bladeworks.